I'm gonna start over. These terms and conditions create a yeah, never mind. I have to read the title. Apple Media Services Terms and Conditions. These ser- these terms and conditions create a contract between you and Apple, the agreement. Please read the agreement carefully. To confirm your understanding of and acceptance of the agreement, click Agree. Part A. Introduction to our services. This agreement governs your use of Apple's services in quotations, through which you can buy, get, license, rent, or subscribe to media, apps in parentheses, and other in-app services, content in parentheses. Our services are iTunes Store, Apple Store, iBook Store, Apple Music, and Apple News. Our services are available for your use in your country of residence, home country in parentheses. To use our services, you need compatible hardware, software, the latest version recommended and sometimes required, and internet access. Free fees may apply. Our services performance may be affected by these factors. Part B. Using our services. Payments, taxes, and refunds. You can acquire content on our services for free or for a charge, either of which is referred to as a transaction. In parentheses, each transaction is an electronic contract between you and Apple and/or you and the entity providing the content on our services. However, if you're a customer of Apple Distribution International and you acquire an app or a book, Apple Distribution International is the merchant of record. This means that you acquire the content from Apple Distribution International and it is licensed by the app provider as defined below or book publisher. When you make your first transaction, we will ask you to choose how frequently we should ask for your password for future transactions. If you enable Touch ID for transactions, we will ask you to authenticate all transactions with your fingerprint. Manage your password settings at any time by following these instructions. HTTPS colon / support.apple.com /en-us /HT204030. Apple will charge your payment method, such as your credit card, debit card, gift card / code, or other method available in your home country for any paid transactions, including any applicable taxes. If you pre-order content, you will be charged when the content is delivered to you, unless you cancel prior to the content's availability. In accordance with the law, Apple may update information regarding your payment method if provided such information by your financial institution. For details how transactions are billed, please visit http:// support.apple.com /kb /ht5582. All transactions are final. Content prices may change at any time. If technical problems prevent or unreasonably delay delivery of content, your exclusive and sole remedy is either the replacement of content or refund of the price paid, as determined by Apple. From time to time, Apple may refuse a refund request if we find evidence of fraud, refund abuse, or other manipulative behavior that entitles Apple to a corresponding counterclaim. Terms related to gift cards / codes are available here. HTTPS www.apple.com /legal /internet services /iTunes /gift cards Apple ID. Using our services and accessing your content requires an Apple ID. An Apple ID is the account you use across Apple's ecosystem. Your Apple ID is valuable, and you are responsible for maintaining its confidentiality and security. Apple is not responsible for any losses arising from the unauthorized use of your Apple ID. Please contact Apple if you suspect your Apple ID has been compromised. You must be age 13 or equivalent minimum age in your home country as set forth in the registration process to create an Apple ID and use our services. Apple IDs for persons under this age can be created by by parent or legal guardian using family sharing or by an approved educational institution. Privacy. Your use of services is subject to Apple's privacy policy, which is available at https://www.apple.com/legal/privacy/. Service and content usage rules. Your use of the services and content must follow the rules set forth in this section, usage rules in parentheses. And any other use of the services and the content is material breach of this agreement. Apple may monitor your use of the services and content to ensure that you are following these usage rules. I need some water. Oh, it's okay. I got some Gorilla Glue. Next, all services. You may use the services and content only for personal, non-commercial purposes, except as set forth in the Apple Store content section below. Apple's delivery of content does not transfer any promotional rights to you and does not constitute or a grant or waiver of any rights of the copyright owners. You can use content from up to 5 different Apple IDs on each device. It is your responsibility not to lose, destroy, or damage content once downloaded. We encourage you to back up your content regularly. You may not tamper with or circumvent any security technology included with the services. You may access our services only using Apple software and may not modify or use modified versions of such software. Video content requires HDCP connection. iTunes Store content. You can use digital rights. Oh, I'm not even like halfway. I'm not even close to a fourth of the way there. I'm like 1/8. Oh. iTunes Store content. You can use digital rights management (DRM) free content on a reasonable number of compatible devices that you own or control. DRM protected content can be used on up to 5 computers and any number of devices that you sync to from those computers. Content rentals are viewable on a single device at a time, and must be played within 30 days and completed within 24 to 48 hours of the start of play, depending on the content offered on the services in your home country. I guess stopping, pausing, or restarting does not extend this period. You may burn an audio playlist to a CD for listening purposes up to 7 times. This limitation does not apply to DRM-free content. Apple Store content. The term app includes apps, iMessage, and Apple Watch apps. In-app purchases, extensions such as keyboards, stickers, and subscriptions made available in an app. You can use apps on any device that you own or control. Individuals acting on behalf of a commercial enterprise, governmental organization, or educational institution, and enterprise in parentheses, may download and sync apps for use by either 1. A single individual or 1 or more devices owned or controlled by an enterprise, or 2. Multiple individuals on a single shared device owned or controlled by an enterprise. For the sake of clarity, each device used serially or collectively by multiple users requires a separate license. I'm gonna start playing music on my computer because I'm not gonna read this for 2 hours. Here we go. Bookstore content. You can use a DRM-free content on any compatible device that you own or control. DRM-protected content can be used on up to 5 computers and any number of devices that you sync to from those computers. You may not burn iBook stored content to disk. Apple Music. Oh, oops. You can use an individual Apple Music membership on up to 10 devices, only 5 of which can be computers. An individual Apple Music membership allows you to stream a single device at a time. A family membership allows you or your family members to stream up onto 6 devices at a time. Redownloads. You may be able to re-download previous acquired content. Re-download in parentheses to your devices that are signed in with the Apple ID. Associated devices in parentheses. You can see content types available for re-download in your home country at https://support.apple.com/en-us/ht204632. Content may not be available for re-download if that content is no longer offered on our services. Associated device rules. You can have 10 devices, but only a maximum of 5 computers signed in with your Apple ID at one time. Each computer must also be authorized using the same Apple ID. To learn more about authorization of computers, visit https://support.apple.com/en-us/ht201251. Devices can be associated with a different Apple ID once every 90 days. Subscriptions. The services and certain apps may allow you to purchase access to content or services on a subscription basis. Paid subscriptions in parentheses. Paid subscriptions automatically renew until canceled in the Manage Subscriptions section of your account settings. We will notify you if the price of a paid subscription increases, and if required, seek your consent to continue. You will be charged no more than 24 hours prior to the start of the latest paid subscription period. If we cannot charge your payment method for any reason, such as an expiration or insufficient funds, and you have not canceled the paid subscription, you may remain for any uncollected amounts. We're responsible for any uncollected amounts, and we will attempt to charge the payment method as you may update your payment method information. This may result in a change to the start of your next paid subscription period and may change the date on which you are billed for each period. Certain paid subscriptions may offer a free trial prior to charging your payment method. If you decide to unsubscribe from a paid subscription before we start charging your payment method, cancel the subscription before the free trial ends. Content and service availability. Terms found in this agreement that relate to services, content types, features, or functionality not available in your home country are not applicable to unless and until they become available to you. To see the content types available to you in your home country, go to the services or visit https://support.apple.com/en-us/ht204411. Non-Apple devices. If you use our services on a non-Apple branded device, you may not be able to access all the features or content types. Terms in this agreement relating to unavailable features or content types are not applicable to you. If you later choose to access our services from an Apple branded device, you agree that all terms of this agreement will apply to your use on such a device. Part C. Your submission to our services. Our services may allow you to submit materials such as comments, pictures, videos, and podcasts, including associated metadata and artwork. Your use of such features must comply with the submission guidelines below, which may be updated from time to time. If you see materials that do not comply with the submissions guidelines, please use the report and concern feature. You hereby grant Apple a worldwide, royalty-free, perpetual, non-exclusive license to use the materials you submit within the services and related marketing. Apple may monitor the device and decide to remove or edit any submitted material. Submission guidelines. You may not use the services to post any materials that you do not have permission, right, or license to use. Post objectionable, offensive, unlawful, deceptive, or harmful content. Post personal, private, or confidential information belonging to others. Request personal information from a minor. Impersonate or misrepresent your affiliation with another person or entity. Post or transmit spam, including but not limited to unsocialized or unauthorized advertising, promotional materials, or informational announcements. Plan or engage in any illegal, fraudulent, or manipulative activity. Part D. Family sharing. The organizer of family organizer in parentheses must be 18 years or older, and the parent or legal guardian of any family member under age 13 or the equivalent minimum age in their home country as set forth in the registration process. Apple devices are required for access to all of the family sharing features. Purchase 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 sharing. Family sharing's purchase sharing feature wait Purchase sharing. Family sharing's purchase sharing feature allow you to share eligible content with up to 6 members of a family. The organizer invites other members to participate and agrees to pay for all transactions initiated by family members. The organizer's payment method is used to pay for any transaction initiated by a family member, except when the family member's account has store credit, which is used first. Family members are acting as agents for the organizer when the organizer's payment method is used. The organizer hereby agrees 1. To pay for such transactions, and 2. That transactions initiated by family members are authorized. Organizers are responsible for complying with their payment method contract and assume all risk related to sharing access to a payment method with family members. A receipt or invoice for any family member transaction is sent to the initiating family member and the organizer. Ask to buy. Ask to buy. Ask to buy is a convenient feature that allows an organizer to approve each transaction initiated by a family member under the age 18 or the equivalent age of a majority in your home country. The organizer must be the parent or legal guardian of any family member whom asked to buy is activated. Content downloaded from family members or acquired via redemption codes are not subject to ask to buy. Family member charges. When a family member leaves or is removed from the family, the remaining family members just like thrown away from the family, disowned. Um, the remaining family members may no longer be able to access the former member's content, including content acquired with the organizer's payment method. Family sharing rules. You can only belong to one family at a time and may join any family no more than twice per year. You can change your Apple ID associated with a family no more than once every 90 days. All family members must share the same home country. Not all content, including in-app purchases, subscriptions, and other previously acquired apps, are eligible for purchase sharing. Part E. Recommendation features. The services will recommend content to you based on your downloads, purchases, and other activities. You may opt out from receiving such recommendations in your account settings. Some recommendation features may require your permission before they are turned on. And if you turn on these features, you will be asked to give Apple permission to collect and store certain data, including but not limited to data about your device activity, location, and usage. Please carefully read the information presented when you turn these features on. Part F. Additional iTunes Store terms, seasonal pass, and multi-pass. A pass allows you to purchase and receive television content as it becomes available. A season pass applies to television content that has a limited number of episodes per season. A multi-pass applies to television content that is available on an ongoing basis. The full price of a season pass or multi-pass is charged at the time of the transaction. Season pass or multi-pass content available for download up to 90 days after the last episode becomes available. If automatic renewal is selected when you obtain multi-pass, you will be charged the full price of each subsequent multi-pass cycle. You can turn off automatic renewal prior to the beginning of the next multi-pass cycle in your account settings. If a content provider delivers to Apple fewer TV episodes than planned when you purchase a season pass, we will credit to your Apple ID the retail value of the corresponding number of the episodes that were not provided to Apple. Wait, he left? He left every... Wait, why'd Shane leave the groups? Wait, did he actually? Yeah, I'm taking a break, and I'm recording it, and I'm gonna post it on YouTube. Part G. Additional apps store terms. License of App Store content. App licenses are provided to you by Apple or a third-party developer. App provider in parentheses. If you are a customer of Apple Distribution International, the merchant of record is Apple Distribution International, which means that you acquire the app license from Apple Distribution International, but the app is licensed by the app provider. An app licensed by Apple is an Apple app. A an app license an app licensed by an app provider is a third-party app. Apple acts as an agent for providers in providing App Store and is not a party to the sales contract or user agreement between you and the app provider. Any app that you acquire is governed by the licensed application and user license agreement. Standard EULA in parentheses, set forth below, unless Apple or the Apple provider provides an overriding custom license agreement, custom EULA in parentheses. The Apple provider of any third party is, wait, where I lost my place, is solely responsible for its content, warranties, and claims that you may have related to a third party app. You acknowledge and agree that Apple is a third-party beneficiary of the standard EULA or custom EULA applicable to each third-party app and may therefore enforce such agreement on enforce such agreement. Certain apps such as stickers and iMessage apps may not appear on the device springboard, but can be accessed and used in the messages app jar. In-app purchases. In-app offers apps may offer content, services, or functionality for use within such apps. In-app purchases in parentheses. In-app purchases are the in-app purchases that are consumed during the use of the app. For example, virtual gems cannot be transferred among devices and can be downloaded only once. You must authenticate your account before making in-app purchases. Separate from any authentication to obtain other content. By entering your password or using Touch ID, you'll be able to make additional in-app purchases for 15 minutes without re-authenticating unless you've asked us to require a password for every purchase or you have enabled Touch ID. You can turn off the ability to make in-app purchases by following these instructions. https://support.apple.com/en-us/ht201304. App maintenance and support. Apple is responsible for providing maintenance and support for Apple apps only, or as required under applicable law. Apple providers are responsible for providing maintenance and support for third-party apps. License application and user license agreement. Apps made available through the App Store are licensed, not sold to you. Your license to each app is subject to your prior acceptance of either this license application and the end user license agreement, standard EULA in parentheses, or custom end user license agreement between you and the application provider, custom EULA in parentheses, if one is provided. Your license to use any Apple app under the standard EULA or custom EULA is granted by Apple, and your license to any third-party app under this standard EULA or custom EULA is granted by the application provider of the third-party app. Any app that is subject to this standard EULA is referred to herein as licensed application. The application provider or Apple as applicable licensor in parentheses reserves all rights in and to the licensed application not expressly granted to you under the standard EULA. Oh God. Part A. Scope of license. Licensor grants to you a non-transferable license to use the license application on any Apple branded project that you own or control and as permitted by the usage rules. The terms of this standard EULA will govern any content, materials, or services accessible from one purchase within the license application, as well as upgrades provided by a licensor that replace or supplement the original license application unless such upgrade is accompanied by custom EULA. Except as provided in the usage rules, you may not distribute or make the license application available over a network where it could be used by multiple devices at the same time. You may not transfer, redistribute, or sublicense the license application. And if you sell your Apple device to a third party, you must remove the license application from the Apple device before doing so. You may not transfer, redistribute, or sublicense the license application, and if you sell it, never mind. You may not copy except as permitted by the license and usage rules, reverse engineer, disassemble, attempt to derive the source code of, modify, or create derivative works of the license agreement or a license application, any updates, or any part thereof, except as and only to the extent that any foregoing restriction is prohibited by applicable law, or to the extent as may be permitted by the licensing terms governing use of any open source components included with the license application. Oh my god, my brain is dying. Okay, Part B, subsection B rather. Consent to use of data. No, it's just almost halfway. Consent to use of data. You agree that licensor may collect and use technical data and related information, including but not limited to technical information about your device, system, and application software and peripherals. That is gathered periodically to facilitate in the provision of software updates, product support, and other services to you, if any, related to the license application. Licensor may use this information as long as it's in a form that does not personally identify you, to improve its products, or to provide services or technologies to you. Termination. This standard EULA is effective until terminated by you or licensor. Your rights under this standard EULA will terminate automatically if you fail to comply with any of its terms. Internal services. The license application may enable access to licensors and or third-party services and websites, collectively and individually external services. You agree to use the external devices at your sole risk. Licensors are not responsible for examining or evaluating the content or accuracy of third-party external services, and shall not be liable for such third-party external services. Data displayed by any licensed application or external service include, but not limited to, financial, medical, and location information is for general informational purpose. Jeez, it's already been an hour. Including, I lost my place. Data displayed by any licensed application or external services, including but not limited to financial, medical, and location information, is for general informational purposes only, and is not guaranteed by licensors or its agents. You will not use the external services in any manner that is inconsistent with the terms of this standard EULA, or that infringes the intellectual property rights of licensor or any third party. You agree not to use the external services to harass, abuse, stalk, threaten, or defame any person or entity, and that licensor is not responsible for such use. External services may not be available in all languages or in your home country, and may not be appropriate or available for any use in particular location. To the extent you choose to use such external services, you are solely responsible for compliance with any applicable laws. Licensors reserve the right to change, suspend, remove, disable, or impose access restrictions or limits on any external services at any time without notice or liability to you. I'm like halfway. Oh no, I went all the way to the down by accident. No. Uh. Oh, gee. Jesus. There's so much. Subsection E. No warranty. No, I'm sorry. It's all caps.
No warranty. You expressively acknowledge and agree that use of the license application is at your sole risk. To the maximum extent permitted by applicable law, the license application and any services performed or provided by the license application are provided as is and as available, without faults and without warranty of any kind. And licensor hereby disclaims all warranties and conditions with respect to the license application and any services either express, implied, or situationary, including but not limited to the implied warranty and/or conditions of merchantability, of satisfactory quality or fitness for a particular purpose of accuracy, of quiet enjoyment, and of non-infringement of third-party rights. No oral or written information or advice given by the licensor or its authorized representative shall create a warranty should the license application or services prove defective. You assume the entire cost of all necessary servicing, repair, or correction. Some jurisdictions do not allow the exclusive of implied warranties or limitations on applicable situatorial rights of a consumer, so that the above exclusion and limitations may not apply to you.
Limitations of liability.
To the extent of not prohibited by law, in no event shall licensor be liable for personal injury or any incidental, specific, indirect, or consequential damages whatsoever, including without limitation damages for loss of profits, loss of data, business interruption, or any other commercial damages or losses arising out of or related to your use of inability to use the license application, however caused, regardless of the theory of liability, contract, tort, or otherwise, and even if the licensor has been advised of the possibility of such damages. Some jurisdictions do not allow the limitations of liability for personal injury or incident or consequential damages, so this limitation may not apply to you.
In no event shall licensors total liability to you for all the damages, other than as may be required by applicable law in cases involving personal injury, exceed the amount of $50. $50 in parentheses. The foregoing limitations will apply even if the above state remedy fails for its essential purposes. Now we're going to do some Apple Agreement ASMR. Subsection B. You may not use or otherwise export or re-export the license application except as authorized by United States law and the law of jurisdiction in which the license application, just kidding, I'm not doing that, was obtained. In particular, but without limitation, the license application may not be exported or re-exported A, into a U.S. embargoed countries, or B, to anyone on the U.S. Treasury Department specially designated national list or the U.S. Department of Commerce denied personal list or entity list. By using the license application, you represent and warrant that you are not located in any such country or any such list. You also agree that you will not use these products for any purposes prohibited by the United States law, including without limitation the development, design, manufacture, and production of nuclear, missile, or chemical or biological weapons. Okay. Subsection H. The license application and related documentation are commercial items, as the term is defined as 48 CFR 2.101, consisting of commercial computer software and commercial computer software documentation. As such terms are used in 48 CFR 12.212 or 48 CFR 227.7202 as applicable, consistent with 48 CFR 12.212 or 48 CFR 227.7202-1 through 22.7.7202-4 as applicable. The commercial computer software and commercial computer software documentation are being licensed to the U.S. government by end users, A, only as commercial items, and B, with those rights granted to all others, and pursuant to the terms and conditions herein. Unpublished rights reserved under the copyright laws of the United States. Subsection I. Except to the extent expressly provided by the following paragraph, this agreement and relationship between you and Apple shall not be governed by laws in the state of California, excluding its conflicts of law provisions. You and Apple agree to submit to personal exclusive jurisdiction of the courts located within the state of Santa Clara, California, to resolve any dispute or claim arising from the agreement. If A, you are not a U.S. citizen, B, you do not reside in the U.S., C, you are not accessing the service from the U.S., and D, you are a citizen of one of the countries identified below, you hereby agree that any dispute claim arising from this agreement shall be governed by the applicable laws set forth below, without regarding any conflict of law provisions, and hereby irrevocably. Hold on, let's just get a paste. Here, let's listen. Irrevocably. 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 Okay. Submit to the non-exclusive jurisdiction of the court located in the state, province, or country identified below whose law governs. Wait, I don't have to do it anymore? Damn. Okay. If you are a citizen of any European Union country or Switzerland, Norway, or Iceland, the governing law and forum shall be the law and courts of your usual place of residence, specifically excluded from application to this agreement is that law unknown as the United States conventionally on the international sale of goods. Additional iBook store items. No, Part H. Yes, actual Part H. Okay. Additional iBook store items. You acquire iBook store content from a third-party provider, such as the publisher, in parentheses, not Apple. Apple acts as an agent for the publisher in providing iBooks store content to you, and therefore Apple is not the party to the transaction between you and the publisher. If you are a customer of Apple Distribution International, the merchant of a record is Apple Distribution International. Apple Distribution International, which means that you acquire a license to use the content from Apple Distribution International, but the content is licensed by the publisher. The publisher of iBook Store content reserves the rights to enforce the terms of use relating to such iBook Store content. The publisher of iBook Store content is solely responsible for such content. Any warranties to the extent of that such warranties have not been disclaimed. Any claims that you or any other party relating to such content. Part I. Additional Apple Music terms. Apple Music membership. Apple Music is a subscription music service. Your Apple Music membership will automatically renew until you turn off automatic renewal in account settings. See the subscription section for more detail. When your Apple Music membership ends, you will lose access to any feature app of Apple Music that requires a membership, including but not limited to access to Apple Music songs stored in your device and iCloud Music library. Apple reserves the right to cancel your Apple Music membership if we are unable to successfully charge your payment method to renew your membership. Where available, you may be offered an Apple Music membership through your wireless carrier, a carrier membership in parentheses. If you purchase a carrier membership, your carrier will bill you for the cost of your Apple Music membership. Your billing relationship with the carrier is governed by carrier's terms and conditions, not this agreement. Any billing disputes related to carrier membership must be directed to your carrier, not Apple. But by using Apple Music, you agree that your carrier may exchange your carrier you agree that your carrier may exchange your carrier account information, telephone number, and subscription information with Apple, and that may use this information to determine the status of your carrier membership. iCloud Music Library. I have about 1/3 left. iCloud Music Memory. iCloud Music Library is an Apple Music feature that allows you to access your matched or uploaded songs, playlists, and music videos acquired from the Apple Music, the iTunes Store, third party. iCloud Music Library content, in parentheses. As you can tell, when you read something for an hour, you get quite the voice crack. Also, I think I'm getting what's it called? Digital migraine. Yeah, like my vision's all spotty. Here, let me close my eyes for a moment. The first one that I ever got was when I was playing Mountain Blade. I was like, "Hey Ma, I can't see anymore," and she's like, "David, David, are you okay?" I meant, "Oh, I'm gonna have to bleep that out because they don't. My channel doesn't know what my real name is." Yeah, you can't you can't hear my desktop audio. Don't worry. iCloud Music Library. iCloud Music iCloud Music Library is an Apple Music feature that allows you to access your matched or uploaded songs, playlists, and music videos acquired by Apple Music, the iTunes Store, or third party. iCloud Music Library content in parentheses on your Apple Music enabled devices. iCloud Music Library is turned on automatically when you set up your Apple Music membership. iCloud Music Library collects information about you or iCloud Music Library content. This information is associated with your Apple ID and compared to the iCloud, which music library content currently available in the Apple Music. iCloud Music Library content is not matched is uploaded to Apple's iCloud Music Library servers in a format determined by Apple. You can upload up to 100,000 songs. Songs acquired from the iTunes Store or Apple Music I do not count against this limit. Use songs that do not meet certain criteria, for example, excessively large files or that are not authorized for your device, are not eligible for iCloud Music Library. When you use iCloud Music Library, Apple logins such as tracks you play, stop, or skip, the devices you use, and the time and duration of playback. You agree to use iCloud Music Library only for lawful acquired content. iCloud Music Library is provided as is basis and could contain errors or inaccuracies. You should back up your data and information prior to using iCloud Music Library. If you do not if you are not an Apple Music member, you may purchase an iTunes Match subscription, which is subject to terms set forth in the section. Okay. Section J. Miscellaneous terms applicable to all services. Oh, by the way, once I'm done with this, I'm going mute for the rest of my summer break. Okay. Definition of Apple. Depending on your home country, Apple means Apple Incorporated, located 1 Apple Parkway, Cupertino, California, for users in North, Central, and South America, including Canada, for use of iTunes Store and Apple Music, as well as the United States territories and possessions, and French and British possessions in North America, South America, and the Caribbean. Apple Canada Inc., located at 120 Bremer Boulevard, Suite 1600 Toronto on M5J0A8 Canada for users on the Apple Store, App Store, and iBooks Store in Canada or its territories possessions. iTunes KK located in the at Robbing Hills, Roppongi Hills 6-10-1 Roppongi Montoku Tokyo 106-6140 Tokyo for users in Japan. Apple Pty Limited located level 3, 20 Martin Place, Sydney, NSW 2000, Australia for users in Australia, New Zealand, including island possession territories and affiliated jurisdictions, and Apple Distribution International located at Holly Hill Industrial Estate, Holly Hill, Cork, Republic of Ireland for any other users. Oh, wait, this song is great. Praise the Lord. I came, 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 I came. That's like my favorite. That's like one of my favorite videos on YouTube. uh, I have about a fourth left. Uh, okay. Apple Distribution International, located at Holly Hill Industrial Estate, Holly Hill, Cork, Republic of Ireland for all other users. Contract changes. Apple reserves the right at any time to modify this agreement and to add or new or additional terms or conditions on your services or to the use of your services. Such modifications and additional terms and conditions will be effective immediately and incorporated into this agreement. You continue to use the services will be deemed acceptance thereof. It pours, it rains, it pours. Makes oh wait, I saw, I praise the Lord and break. Okay, third-party materials. Apple is not responsible or liable for third-party materials, including within or linked from the content or the services. Intellectual property. Intellectual property. You agree that services, including but not limited to content graphics, user interface, audio clips, video clips, editorial content, and the scripts and software used to implement the services contain pro- pro- proprietary information and material that is owned by Apple and or its licensor, and it is protected by applicable intellectual property and other laws, including but not limited to copyright. You agree that you will not use such proprietary information or materials in any way whatsoever except for the use of the services for personal, non-commercial use in compliance with this agreement. No portion of the services may be reproduced in any form or by any means except as expressly why does that keep coming up, except as expressly permitted by this agreement. You agree not to modify, rent, loan, sell, or distribute services or content in any manner, and you should not exploit the services in any manner as not expressly authorized. The Apple name, Apple logo, iTunes Store, Apple Store, iBook Store, Apple Music, and other Apple trademarks, service marks, graphics, logos, and used in connection with the services are trademarks or registered trademarks of Apple in the U.S. and other countries throughout the world. You are granted no right or license with the respect to use any of the aforesaid trademarks. Copyright notice. If you believe that content available through services infringe a copyright claimed by you, please contact Apple in the following locations: iTunes Store, https www.apple.com/legal internet services iTunes Store notices Apple Store, https www.apple.com legal internet services iTunes App Store notices iBook Store, https www.apple.com legal internet services iTunes iBook Store notices. Apple Music, https www.apple.com legal trademark claims of copyright.html. So close. Termination and suspension of services. If you fail or Apple suspects you have failed to comply with any of the provisions of this agreement, Apple may, without notice to you, one, terminate this agreement and or your Apple ID, and you will remain liable for amounts due under your Apple ID due to including the date of termination, and or two, terminate your license to the software, and or three, preclude your access to services. Apple further reserves the rights to modify, suspend, or discontinue services or any part of content thereof, uh, at any time with or without notice to you, and Apple will not be liable to you or any third party should it exercise such rights. Disclaimer of warranties, liability limitation. Apple did not guarantee representation or warrant that you use the services will be uninterrupted or error-free, and you agree that from time to time, Apple may remove these services for indefinite periods of time, cancel the services at any time, or otherwise limit or disable your access to the services without notice to you. You expressively agree that your use of or inability to use the services is at your sole risk. The services and all content delivered to you through the services are except as expressly stated by Apple, provided as is and as available for your use, without warranties of any kind, either express or implied, including all implied warranties of merchantability, fitness for a particular purpose, title, non-infringement, because some jurisdictions do not allow the exclusion of implied warranties. The above exclusion of implied warranties may not apply to you. In no case shall Apple, its directors, officers, employees, affiliates, agents, contractors, or licensors be liable for any direct, indirect, incidental, punitive, special, or consequential damages arising from the use of the services or for any other claim related in any way to use of your services and or content, including but not limited to any errors or um, omissions in any content or any loss or damage of any kind incurred as a result of use of any content posted, transmitted, or otherwise made available via the services, even if advised of their possibility, because some countries, state, over jurisdictions do not allow exclusion or the limitation of liability for consequential or incidental damages. In such countries, states, or jurisdictions, Apple's liability shall be limited to the extent such as limitation as permitted by law. Apple shall use reasonable efforts to protect information submitted by you in connection with the services, but you agree that your submission of such information is at your sole risk, and you hereby release Apple from any and all liability to you for any loss of liability relating to such information in any way. Apple does not represent or guarantee that the services will be free from loss, corruption, attack, viruses, interference, hacking, or other security intrusion, and you hereby release Apple from any liability relating to thereto. You shall be responsible for breaking up your own system, including any content acquired or rented through the services. Apple is not responsible in connection with the use of your services. Waiver, waiver and indemnity. By using the services, you agree to the extent permitted by law to indem in in indem in, no, it's not. It indemnify demify in okay. I guess I'm gonna have to freaking look up how to pronounce this word too. Indeed, indemnify. Indemnify and hold Apple, its directors, officers, employees, affiliates, agents, contractors, and licensors harmless with the respect to any claims arising out of your breach of this agreement, your use of the services, or any action taken by Apple as part of its investigation of a suspected violation of the agreement, or as a result of finding or decision that a violation of this agreement has occurred. You agree that you shall not sue or recover any damages from Apple, its directors, officers, employees, affiliates, agents, contractors, and licensors as a result of its decision to remove or refuse the process of any information or content, to warn you, suspend you, or terminate your access to the services, or to take any other action during the investigation of suspected violation, or as a result of Apple's conclusion that the violation of this agreement has occurred. This waiver and indemnity indemnity fudge. I don't know. Shit. Where'd it go? Provisions applies to all violations described and condemned by the agreement. Uh, statutory statutory exceptions for public institutions. If you are qualified public educational or government institution in any part of the agreement, such as by way of example, all or part of in the indemnification section is invalid or unenforceable against you because of applicable location, state, or federal law, then that portion shall be deemed invalid or unenforceable, and as the case may be, instead construed in a manner most consistent with applicable governing law. Oh God, my brain. Governing law, except to the extent expressly provided in the following paragraph, this agreement and the relationship between you and Apple and all transactions on the services shall be governed by the law and this of the state of California, excluding its conflicts of law provisions. You and Apple agree to submit to the personal and exclusive jurisdiction of the court located within the country of Santa Clara, California, to resolve any dispute or claim arising from this agreement. If A, you are not a citizen, B, you do not reside in the U.S., C, you are not accessing the service from the U.S., and D, you are not a citizen of one of the countries identified below, you hereby agree that any dispute or claim arise from this agreement shall be governed by the applicable law set forth below, without regard to conflict of law provisions, and you hereby irrevocably submit to the non-exclusive jurisdiction to courts located in the state, province, or country identified by those who laws govern. If you are a citizen of the European Union, I can see the bottom of it. It says last updated. Okay. If you're a citizen of any European Union country or Switzerland, Norway, or Iceland, the governing law in form shall be the laws in the courts of your usual place of residence. Specifically excluded from application to this agreement is that the law known as the United Kingdom's Conventional on the International Sale of Goods. Other provisions. This agreement constitutes the entire agreement between you and Apple and governs your use of the services, superseding any prior agreements with respect to the same subject matter between you and your app and Apple. You also may be subject to additional terms and conditions that may apply when you use affiliate services, third-party content, third-party software, or additional services such as the volume purchase program. If any part of this agreement is held invalid or unenforceable, that portion shall be construed in a manner consistent with applicable law to reflect as nearly as impossible the original intentions of parties, and the remaining portions shall remain in the full force and effect. Apple's failure to enforce any right or provisions in this agreement will not constitute a waiver of such or any other provisions. Apple will not be responsible for failures to fulfill or any obligations due to cause beyond its control. You agree to comply with all local, state, federal, and national laws, ordinances, and regulations that apply to your use of the services. Your use of the services may also be subject to other laws, risk of loss, or for all electronically delivered transactions passed acquired upon electronic transmission to the receipt No Apple employee or agent has the authority to vary this agreement. Apple may notify you with respect to services by sending an email message to your email address or a letter via post mail to your mailing address, or by posting on the services. Notices shall become effective immediately. Apple may also contact you by email or push notification to send you additional information about services. You hereby grant Apple the right to take steps Apple believes are reasonably necessary or appropriate, or to enforce or verify compliance with any other part of this agreement. You agree that Apple has a right to, without liability to you, right has a right without liability to you to enclose data and/or information to law enforcement authorities, government officials, and/or third party, as Apple believes Apple believes is reasonably Apple believes is reasonably necessary or appropriate to enforce and/or verify compliance with any part of this agreement, including but not limited to Apple's rights to cooperate with legal process relating to your use of the services and/or content, and/or third-party claims that your use of the services and/or content is unlawful and/or infringes such third-party rights. Children under the age of majority should Sure, that's meant to be majority. Okay, should review this agreement with their parents or guardian and sue the child and parent or legal guardian understand it. Last updated September 13th, 2016. Okay, I'm gonna go blow my brains out. Peace out, you little shits.